Hello, welcome to Revenant Reads. I'm Vin, and this is a used book haul from the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. So my wife and I were lucky enough this past weekend to have a little overnight getaway. We stayed at a really nice bed and breakfast in Niantic, Connecticut, which is a small little seaside town that it's got some cute shops. It's got a boardwalk and some trails that go along the water. We had always stopped there on our way down to Mystic, Connecticut, usually when we're taking the kids on vacation. And one of the nice things about Niantic is that it has the Book Barn, which is a big, sprawling used bookstore. It's actually in several locations. That's how big it is. The main complex has a very whimsical setup. There are goats there. There's like a playground for kids. It's all really great stuff. And then there's other locations that have certain kind of fiction focus, or basically they can't house everything in one spot. So while we were there, we made sure to do some shopping at the Book Barn, and I picked up a few things. I figured I'd show you what I got. So the first two things are actually, they're French. So I found the Le Petit Prince. Now I have been teaching myself to read some French over the past few months. I'm still very much on a basic level, but one of the things I had read when I was researching is that once you're at you don't have to be to a very high degree in French to be able to read this. And this has been, I think, one of the books that's been translated into more languages than pretty much any other. So, it's obviously stood up as a classic. I never read it in English, but I figured once I get to a certain level in French, I'll be able to read it. So I don't know when that'll be exactly, maybe by the end of the year, maybe a little bit after that, but that's why I picked this up. So I'd already known that, and they had this at the Book Barn for like $1. And in case it's not clear, this is the French version. So that's why I got this. And I also got this real quick in French. So this is essentially a kid's history book. There's little snippets and explanations. Now, of course, I am a history person. I went to college and got history degrees. I teach history, so I know basically the history in here. But I figured this would be a nice kind of quick way to practice the language, to figure out, I'll pretty much know the history anyway, so I'll be able to translate it pretty well, but this is something I figured I could practice with and dip in and out of, and just something fun to have. So basically a young person's history book in French. So that's why I got those, just to help with my language learning. And I've explained this in past videos, but my main reason for language learning is to be able to read some things, not necessarily to speak the language. Okay, so the next thing that I got at the Book Barn was this. Graphic novel, Gotham Central, book 4, Corrigan. So this was a series that came out in the early 2000s. It was only around for maybe like 2 years or something. It wasn't long for that long. I was reading it as it was coming out, and I really liked this series. It's one that focused not on Batman. Batman shows up, but it focused on detectives at Gotham Central, at their police department. And basically what it was like for them. There was like a day shift and a night shift, if I remember correctly. A lot of it focused on a particular character, Renee Montoya, I believe. And essentially, it's like, what is it like to be a cop in Gotham City? And to come across these crazy crime scenes, and to have like Batman just kind of show up at the crime scene investigation really quickly and then disappear. And I really liked it. It went into the different drama of the lives of these law enforcement officers, and I just thought it was really, really well done. From what I remember, it's been a long time since I read it, and the art was all pretty solid too. So I saw this in like perfect condition, so I was really happy to get this. I would love to get the previous books as well, but for a couple of bucks, I was really glad to get it. So I like this. Okay, next I got a paperback. This is The Age of Atheists, How We Have Sought to Live Since the Death of God, by Peter Watson. And from what I understand by reading the back, it essentially looks at the way atheists have moved through society and their ideas. It seems like mostly from like Nietzsche to today. That seems to be the focus. So I'm interested in intellectual history. I am a non-believer myself, so it is certainly something that I am interested in as far as the history of non-belief and non-believers. So this was kind of right up my alley. I remember hearing stuff about this at one point, but I just, saw this pretty cheap for a paperback and picked it up. I don't know all these ones. I don't know when I'm exactly going to get to them, but again, Book Barn has got some great deals, great books, and just could really pass it up. This next book I've read and I own, but I own kind of a beat up paperback copy. And I found this, which is just a really perfect condition hardcover from 1983, I believe is when this came out. I can just confirm that really. Yeah, so this is Stephen W. Sears' Landscape Turn Red, The Battle of Antietam. And this is a really excellent military history of the Battle of Antietam. I read this years ago. I think I might have read it as an undergrad even. And that's, I think, where my beat up paperback copy comes from. So this is just something basically I bought to replace my paperback copy. I'll put this on in the library on the shelf downstairs. Generally, the books that I haven't read yet are in my office where I currently am, and the books that I have read go downstairs in the library in the more public area. So I'll be replacing the paperback copy with this one. So really glad to get this. And this next one was actually a pretty good find because this can be an expensive book. This is Reconstruction, America's Unfinished Revolution, 1863 to 1877 by Eric Foner, a very famous historian. I had read his, I believe, Pulitzer Prize winning book, The Fiery Trial, which is all about Abraham Lincoln and his growing understanding of and opinion of basically slavery and African Americans. He was somebody who was very open-minded, and it was a really fascinating biography. And I'd always heard really good things about this, about Eric Foner's treatment of the Reconstruction era. So one that I've had my eye out for a long time, and once again, it was great to be able to pick up this hardcover copy of that. Two more. I got Max Adams' In the Land of Giants, A Journey Through the Dark Ages. So this seems to basically be a history of Dark Age Britain from the fall of the Romans, or the evacuation of the Romans, up to King Alfred, and especially looks at it through its landscape. So I don't know a lot about this, but once again, I love Dark Ages. It's one of my favorite historical periods, and this was just a wonderful condition hardcover. And that's why I grabbed it. I haven't read anything by Max Adams yet. I do think I have one of his, is it the Viking Wars, maybe? I know there's another book that I own from him, but yeah, glad to get that. And the last one, also this one's a very well-known historian, of course. We've got Peter Ackroyd and the Thames, a biography. Beautiful deckled edges on here, and just a gorgeous book. I mean, look at if I take off the cover there, I mean, this is just a beautiful looking hardcover, and essentially just a history of the Thames River. I have not been to London yet. Certainly a place I want to go, hopefully within the next few years. I've been to Europe a few times, but I always avoided England because at the time the exchange rate was ridiculous. The euro was far more affordable, or just bypassing the euro altogether and going to a European country that wasn't using the euro was even better. But I just could not afford the British pound. But I do hope to get there soon. And of course, it'll be nice to know more about the Thames when I get there. And that's it. Those are all the books that I picked up at the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. A wonderful used bookstore that if you're ever in that area, I highly recommend you visit. So I'll see if I can pick this up here. I got the Thames, a biography, Landscape Turn Red, Reconstruction, In the Land of Giants, a Gotham Central book, The Age of Atheists, and a history book in French, and also Little Prince in French. If you've read any of these, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, thank you, BookTube.